So we should be going live here. It's just kicked on.
Hey!
Please find us over there, over on YouTube, and drop a comment, say hello, and don't forget, drop a like as well. We love our TikTok followers, and we love to be able to help meet new people over on YouTube, which we are should be live on. Are we live right now?
Hey, Rob. What's up, Rob?
Everybody's popping in. All right, it's starting. Okay, beautiful.
So how's everyone doing? I hope everyone had a great weekend. Today, we want to focus on talking about what's going on, what we're seeing in our market. So as everyone knows, real estate is very market specific. So your market might be a little different than ours, but there's in general things you can look at to kind of get a gauge of where markets are going. And I think we're looking at the real estate market for itself. It's not something that is fast to change. And so you can kind of see things coming ahead of time if you're actually keeping an eye for it, so that you can kind of pivot and make those adjustments in your investment strategy so that you can hopefully do the best for that.
Yep, it's important to be like Ross from Friends and always make sure you're able to
pivot. Really? Wow. How many people are actually going to get that reference?
A lot of people. Raise your hand in the chat here and over on TikTok. Let me know that you love Friends and you know who Ross is and you get these jokes.
Wow.
This is what I do. I do it for
Rob,
you guys.
I don't know, dude. This guy, I'm sorry. I apologize for his jokes.
Well, for anybody that's still over on our TikTok channel, I know you love the Ross jokes from Friends. And please, if you haven't already, take a second, find us in the Stand With Me link to click on that to get to our YouTube channel, where you, like Rob and everybody else that's joining in over there, will click the like button and subscribe and be able to get your questions answered.
So first thing is what's going on for sales. Nice. There you go. All right. So he did get it.
Okay. Count on you, Rob. Appreciate it.
But yeah, so first thing we're seeing is things that used to go on the market within hours. We're getting, 10, 20 offers and showings within just hours of actually listing it. We're seeing that wane. Now, we're still getting, 4 to 5 offers, which is fantastic, but it's definitely, the sentiment is kind of waning a little bit, and people are feeling the burden of all these higher prices that they're kind of starting to I think, pump the brakes on. Would you say that's kind of an accurate statement?
Maybe. I mean, I think a lot of people got excited about, buying houses, and the prices, there was a bit of a frenzy for a while, and things are going to fade. So there are going to be a lot of people that did need to buy, push the price up. And as more and more people started hearing that, hey, there's going to be a crash, there's going to be a correction, there's going to be this, there's going to be that, a lot of people started holding off now. We've been hearing that a ton.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think a lot of people are actually kind of anticipating some kind of correction or crash, and they're kind of waiting on the sidelines because I want to get a better price. I don't want to pay these high prices. And especially with the Feds talking about not raising interest rates for quite a while, that they're thinking, well, I'll just wait. I can still get a good rate, but I don't have to worry about getting those 7%, 8%, even double-digit rates that our parents used to have.
Oh, sure.
But they can still get a low rate, but they don't maybe not have to pay an extra $20,000 to $50,000 for a house.
Yeah. No, it's true. And I mean, I hear it all the time. People are like, I'm just going to wait. I don't need to buy right now. I'll buy later. Right now, I'll continue renting or continue owning the property I currently have, and I'll wait and upgrade in a year or two when the market's different. No rush.
Right.
No rush.
So, but I think what we're seeing also is there was a study done by Fannie Mae, actually a survey of buyers in the market, and what they were saying that they're seeing actually sentiment is actually quite down. And there's actually more people feel the market's going to shift than the market going up, which is actually, since they've done the study for, I think, the last 10 or 15 years, that's actually the first time that's actually happened. It kind of, shifted.
Okay.
And specifically, if you drill down in the metrics, which you guys just go to Fannie Mae's website, you can kind of pull this up, these charts yourself, you'll see that millennials themselves are actually one of the most that are apprehensive about, and they're the buyer pool right now. And they're just seeing that they just really want to wait. And even the ones that have bought are actually kind of regretting paying these higher prices.
Kind of like the people who paid for their student loans. Regretting paying those. Why should you?
So I think that right there, that sentiment is going to be kind of leading into the fourth quarter as well as into the next year.
Sure.
And so I think we will seeing higher prices kind of starting to come down. What we're still seeing, though, I'm seeing it, especially at the auctions, is that there's still quite a few people going to the auctions and, excited to buy. And like I was saying, is the market takes a while to shift. And often the new people that are going on these auctions, they're all excited. I want to flip the homes. and they're still buying up. So they're buying up these supplies still. But I think once they go to finish their flip and looking for that end buyer, the sentiment is that end buyer is not going to be there.
Right.
And so what's going to happen, my prediction, is that they're going to go to list for the higher price, notice that there's not really a buyer market, and then they're going to have to they're going to for a while sit on it because they're new and stuff like that. And they're like, well, maybe I just got to wait a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. And then eventually they're going to get, frustrated and scared that, oh no, I'm not finding a buyer. They either need to now go and shift to renting, or they're going to need to lower the price to the point where they can find someone so they can offload, because they're going to have that consistent mortgage payment, or if they have a hard money payment, even worse, they're paying 10, 12%.
Right. Yeah. So maybe they overpaid for something at auction that won't ever get the price that they were expecting it to get. And so what are they going to do?
So that's what I'm saying. I think they're going to have to figure out either, another exit strategy, which if you're doing this, you should always have multiple exit strategies. Don't always say, all right, I'm going to, just flip it, because if the market does change, you need to have another route, right. Whether it be like Airbnb, or maybe doing just a long-term rental. These are other exit strategies you can have so that you can save yourself from a downside. You then might need to refinance or something like that if you're having a hard money loan, so you can pay that off. Obviously, you don't want to be paying a 10% or whatever hard money loan you have long term, because that's going to eat in the profits. And typically, hard money loans are only about a year, maybe 6 months. So you're going to need an exit strategy anyway on that.
Okay, well, there you go. So if you're thinking about buying a property, and that's why you're here watching this, reconsider the price you're going to pay and have a secondary plan, a backup plan, in case things don't go the way you're kind of hoping.
So I would like to ask you, because you do most of the showings, what are we seeing in our rental market right now?
Well, not much. We don't really have a lot of showings happen. We don't have that many vacant apartments, but when we do have them, which is good. We're not having to evict people, which is really, really important, right? All these millions of people about to be evicted. I don't think we've had a single person leave for non-payment of rent.
Well, I think one thing, I think we're actually a little bit different than some other people. And there's definitely some landlords, especially smaller landlords, that don't know about all the programs. And they're also not watching our channel, because we talk about that.
Shame.
But so we've been lucky to actually be very aggressive about helping our tenants.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Be proactive about it, right? First of all, if you're a landlord, you don't want to have to evict people. You should be going into this with the idea of, I provide housing. That's what I'm looking to do. But if you have to, an eviction should be basically, if you have to do it, you'll do it. It's your last resort, because even when you win, you've lost.
Right.
We talked about this. I've done a lot of these things where I talk to a lot of our viewers, and I talk about the cost of replacing a tenant. Even a bad tenant sucks, but You have to pay a big chunk of change to really replace them. And a lot of that comes with high turnover costs and high vacancy while you're waiting to do it. So one of the things we talked about was, getting out there, being proactive, and helping your tenants connect to resources. But that's why we don't have that much for vacancy right now, is we haven't had to do a ton of evictions. We've talked about this to death. There's so much of our videos here on YouTube where we talk about being proactive, helping people, connect people to funds, and not evicting unless you really, truly have to. So I don't want to go into it too much more, because I know we've talked about that stuff a lot. But so when we do have apartment showings, and getting back to what Matt was asking, we do have a lot of people coming out looking for new apartments because, frankly, not a lot of vacancies were happening. A lot of landlords were jammed up. There's I think what was ruled as an unconstitutional eviction ban out there.
It doesn't sound right to me.
I can't imagine why that anybody's private business should be forced to stay open, force them to serve their customers
for free,
for no compensation. Can't do that in any other business.
I would say they didn't force the supermarkets to stay open and feed everyone for free.
Everybody's got to eat, right? How come the farmers aren't working for free? How come the supermarkets aren't working for free? They're got to pay for their products, stock their shelves.
Yep.
Somebody can still slip and fall in there and sue them. Same kind of thing that a landlord would have to deal with. But that's why there's not a ton of vacancy. It's one of the many reasons. And so when we do have some vacancy here and there, is people move on for a lot of their own reasons that they've decided to move. We'll replace those apartments. We get them cleaned up, get them rented, ready to rent again. We do some showings, and we've been here. What have I been hearing a lot of? Well, I have to move because my house that I live in a multifamily house. It was sold. The new landlords, they want to renovate. They want to increase the rent. They want to do something. They want to move into it and house hack. So they've asked me to move, and I only have 1 month left to find a place.
Yeah, no, I've heard the same thing. I think there's more and more with the higher prices. People obviously are like, "Wow, I want to cash in on this, either sell or I've had." The other thing is, there's high prices, and I have tenants that just don't pay, so I might as well sell now while I can cash in a little bit, or maybe at least recoup some of my losses. And therefore, new people are coming in. They're either owner occupant, which is often what I'm hearing a lot of, especially 2s and 3, 4, and 4 families, because we talk about house hacking all the time.
We teach it, absolutely.
Which is great, yes. But now what it's doing is it's reducing inventory on the market for rentals because they're moving into one unit, and then they're kicking one person out. So it's also increasing demand. So we're seeing more and more. I mean, you had a showing the other day. How many people were there at the showing?
It was about 15 people, 15 different parties.
Yeah. 15 at one apartment showing for a 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah, I mean that's not crazy to have 15 people that are interested in your home. When you put a listing out there, just like when you list a car or something on Facebook, right? What's the joke? Is this thing still available? Everybody wants to know something about it. They're all interested. But we try to condense and whittle those kind of people down so that the people that are actually showing up for a viewing are pre-screened, pre-qualified to some extent. So those are people that legitimately at least state that they could afford the place and could rent it and would meet our criteria. Right. And that they know the address, they know the location. It's not like they're going to get to the apartment and be like, oh, this is a bad area. They know stuff all in advance. So hopefully anybody that shows up is kind of a boiled down prospect.
Makes sense.
So I'm not wasting my time, or anybody doing the showing is not wasting their time. And so 15, and we did it in one time slot. So we tried to wrangle everybody together. 15 in one shot.
Yeah. So I mean, with this increased demand and this lower supply, I mean, where do you see this going for tenants and rents in the next quarter as well as next year?
Well, hopefully, to be honest, hopefully the rents get pushed up a little bit. Everything else has gotten pushed up.
I'm not going to complain.
It's not. It just makes sense. There's been a massive amount of inflation. Whether you're in denial about it, I'm not trying to trigger anybody or anything, but everything went up. I mean, the most annoying thing that I would hear from anybody whenever they have something that they don't like is they would just add the words "in a pandemic" on at the end of it. Oh, you're gonna charge me a fee to unclog the toilet that my kid clogged, in a pandemic. You're gonna raise my rent in a pandemic. Yeah, guys, things can adjust. We know this because it happens everywhere else in life. Right. Ever drive a car anywhere? Stopped at a gas station. Guess what went up? In a pandemic. Oh, in a pandemic. Yep. Yeah. So a landlord, an owner, right? You're doing a lot of work. You're mowing a lawn, right? You're having a landscaping done. What are the lawnmowers run on?
Gas.
What are the trucks that deliver the lawnmowers to the property run on?
Gas.
So if you're paying somebody to do landscaping, don't you think the landscaper raises his rates a little bit?
Oh, not to mention, I've seen Matt increase in jobs because they're finding a hard time to find employees to work, so they've actually been increasing the cost all the time there. Yep. I'm seeing increases just across insurance, taxes.
Well, everything else went up.
As the house values have been going up, guess what? Our taxes have been going up quite a bit.
Even when the values don't go up, taxes go up. So let's be honest. So property taxes through the roof. In some cities, in some areas, right, the city provides trash collection. They have trash trucks that come out. The city raised property taxes to cover the increasing cost of garbage collection. Yep. And then they established a trash collection fee separately. So you're paying a trash collection fee, something that was already included as part of the property taxes. Then water and sewer went up,
like
30,
20 or 30%?
So
it's a crazy amount of money.
Yeah.
So, electricity's been going up. Everything.
Right. But so when you have a conversation with your customer, when all the components of your product, your service, and everything goes up, and you have to have a conversation with your customer, wouldn't the conversation be like this? Hey, listen, all my costs have gone up. Guess what's going to go up?
Right.
Your price.
Once again, people think that landlords, especially small landlords, they're not making this crazy amount of money per unit. It's not unless you're lucky and you're just pumping all your money down on and buying a house cash,
right?
Which most people don't. Most people have to take a mortgage, and because to me, even if you do, then you're still making a small return on your money if you're putting all in cash there. So you're lucky to make what $200-$300 a unit. Let's just say,
sure.
Especially if the tenancy is perfect. For the next year, there's no turnover. You're not have them breaking toilets or anything like that.
Slipped and fell.
Exactly, everything's going great. Yep. They're a great tenant. They pay on time. You don't have to, send the sheriff or anything like that. Things are just great. So you're making $200 to $300. When all of a sudden your all your expenses go up 20%. I mean, now that $200 turns down to like $100.
Sure.
So if you have just one little thing or a turnover, I mean, you're losing profits for the next probably 2 years.
Yeah.
So these aren't huge margins that we're working with here.
Right. So all the more reason, again, as we're doing these new apartment showings right now in the current market, and getting back to what we were talking about, there's more demand. So, and there's the same or less supply because, again, the government created a chokehold on supply. They didn't allow
not.
Right.
They're
they didn't
still
allow
not
a business
allowing
owner to stop doing business with their customers. So what do you think is going to keep happening here? And they raise all the owner's costs. So, yep. So there's lots of people that are looking for an apartment. Like I said, I did a showing. We had 15 different parties show up. And, we're going to, of course, be able to select and have our pick of the litter.
Oh, yeah. And like of those people, I was there with you on that. There was at least 4 of them that were stating that they had to leave because my landlord is kicking me out because they're selling the house.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, honestly, that's also a sign of a good actual tenant right there because
I'm excited.
What a lot of landlords won't, what a lot of tenants won't do is do anything. They won't take any action. They will have been given 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Say, hey, listen, the landlord gives them a heads up. I'm going to want to have this vacant unit, unit empty. I want to renovate. I want to move in, whatever. They won't do anything. And then the landlord's like, hey, it's it's the last couple of days here. I don't see anything packed. What's going on? Oh, I haven't found anything. They don't even go out looking. And the landlord's like, well, I need more time, or you have to kick me out. And now the landlord has to start an eviction process. Yep. And in some places, and again, in our state, very, very lopsided laws here, very much favoring occupants. The eviction process at that point, the landlord's got to give them at least a 30-day notice. So now they're getting a 30-day notice after I've already been given 60 days, 90 days, whatever they were already gave them notification on.
Right.
Now they have to give them it's an eviction notice. They have to give them a 30-day formal eviction notice. Then when they still don't take any action and leave, they have to then start a summary process case, kind of like a small claims court case. Mm-hmm. Money and probably lawyer costs, definitely sheriff and service costs. And that can take a few more months, couple months at least, to get into court, get in front of a judge. And then what are the tenants going to say to the judge? Well, judge, I need time. This is crazy. Yep. This is all happening. They're doing this to me in a pandemic, right? Yes. I need some reasonable time. And I mean, of course, if I was that landlord, what do I say? I was like, it's been 6 months.
I was going to say, they had plenty of time. I gave them notice a long time ago. Yeah. Please,
come
move on. I need to recoup my costs.
I was planning to move in here. You know what I mean? What the heck?
I have a buyer.
Or I'm trying to sell the place. This is not fair, And so the judges, at that point, the judge is empowered to give them up to 6 months of additional time.
That's in Massachusetts, by the way.
Yeah.
Not every state.
Not every state. Again, you want to check your local laws and practices, but I think this is some eye-opening stuff for people. Yeah. And you know what? The judge can do more than that.
Really?
So as long as they're paying the rent, he can give them up to 6 months. But if they claim disability.
Oh, right. Another 6 months on top of that.
They just claim it. Oh, you know what? I'm disabled. Oh, didn't know that. Gotcha. Up to a year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So chokehold on supply will absolutely, and increased costs everywhere else will, of course, skyrocket the price of the end product.
Yep. And all this, everything taking longer in the eviction also is just increasing the cost, increasing the lawyer costs. And so this is just kind of forcing, the rents up. And so I have to say this is kind of created by the government.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. I mean, 100%. This is, yeah.
I mean, I don't blame the tenants. I don't blame everyone else. It's essentially, it is the government. They have created this artificial, housing boom, which is now going to create this boom in rents, which is going to create, I think, a lot of problems that's going to be coming out in the next, few months.
But I mean, the boom in rents is just to cover the increased cost everywhere. People that didn't work, lost their jobs, at least temporarily, were getting a lot more money. So
they were temporarily,
at least temporarily,
right? So now, but that's forcing rents to increase. What if they can't? I mean, how are they going to afford all this? I mean, I don't think.
Well, if they don't replace the income that you know what I mean, or if the government is handing them
exactly. Right. I just don't think that. I don't see the government all of a sudden, paying everyone all this money. So therefore,
it's almost like the government created a dependence and then is threatening to take it away, or maybe taking that dependence away.
They are taking it away.
Right.
I mean,
so which will cause maybe a housing crisis.
You could.
Well, we'll see, guys. But, this is the kind of stuff, it's really, really important to think about this stuff, know a little bit more about it, especially if you're looking at investing. These are the kind of things that you wouldn't believe the amount of investors I talk to, certainly. And they're like, oh, well, if I buy this 3-family house, we'll just it doesn't have lead certificates. So we'll just tell everybody to move out, and we'll de-lead the whole house, and we'll renovate everything, and then we'll rent it, and it'll be a more expensive product. At that point, so we'll rent it for more. I said, well, you said you just kind of glossed over the whole we'll just tell everybody to leave.
Yeah.
That'll totally work, right?
Of course,
that's
just quick and easy.
Yeah. So it's really important to know this stuff, guys. We're not trying to tell you not to invest in real estate. We're trying to tell you, all about investing in real estate.
Right. Be wise about it. Look at key metrics. Look at the absorption rate of what things are, how quickly are getting off the market. What is the inventory? How many houses are on the market currently, and looking at month to month and year over year, kind of so you can see trends happening, so that you can kind of get ahead of it, so that you can make informed, smart decisions. Are you going to be right 100% of the time? No. Right. But you're going to be much better as an investor when you're looking at things and taking things into consideration, so you can shift and pivot. As a good investor will do.
Where are my friends' viewers at? Nobody? Anybody? Pivot.
So we got one question here, and we're happy to take some other questions out. So what are you getting for a 2-bedroom right now? So
that all depends on what it is and where it is, and
yes,
how nice it is versus how long it's been since it's been remodeled. Is the bathtub pink from the 80s?
Yeah, but I would say so. Let's say an updated 2-bedroom in Springfield. What are we saying right now?
Well, I don't know.
Just give me an idea.
Probably like 1,100-ish.
Yeah.
Or so.
And that's not including anything, by the way.
Yeah, its utilities are separate. Again, that's a range, but I would say $1,100. So, people say they talk about affordable housing. People can't afford a 2-bedroom apartment, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think is affordable to somebody?
It really depends on their income.
Right, percentage-wise.
Generally, people pay on a mortgage 50% of their income or so, a third of their income.
Okay, yeah. So, we really suggest this to anybody that is renting out a home. If you're starting with your house hack and you're going to rent those other apartments in or a multifamily house that you're living in, make sure you don't let people make the wrong decision for themselves by getting themselves into a rental situation that they can't afford.
Right.
That's help them make a good decision, because if they make a bad one, you're going to be the one paying the price by having to resolve it. So, at $1,100 a month, we like to have, with nothing included, we like to have people have an income of at least 3 times that. And that's pretty normal nowadays. And that's not a ton of money, $3,300 a month. 2-bedroom apartment, that's hopefully split between 2 adults, 2 able-bodied working people, or I guess collecting government money people. Doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. Whatever their source of income is.
Yeah, that's not a ton of money each month per person.
No, especially now we're seeing. So one of the things that the government did start doing is the child tax credit.
Sure.
So for every child, so I think, and I could get this wrong, so please, I might be a little off, but if you have a child 6 or under, you're getting $300 a month. And if they're basically 6 to 18, you're getting $250. So, that's crazy. You can also then, just get it at the end of tax year, or you can get it monthly. So the government's starting to actually just give out cash just on a routine basis. So these aren't stimulus checks. This is just from what the government is handing out now.
Mm-hmm. I see a comment from Rob up here.
All right. So when tenants are being an issue when you need them to move out, can you financially motivate them to move out? I'm pretty sure you all mentioned that in a previous video. So you want to talk about, I know you don't like doing this. Kevin hates this, but sometimes it is the better option.
It's the wrong way to go, but sometimes it is the better option. It's like paying a bully on the playground to not hit you, this time, and just give up your lunch money. It's reinforcing bad behavior. If you've done the right thing, the legal thing, and you provided somebody notice, or if it's just the ethically right thing, hey, listen, I don't want to rent you anymore. I don't have a contract, to rent you anymore. Any other business would say, listen, I have the right to refuse service. Please don't come back tomorrow. You know what I mean? I don't like the way you're acting while you're on my property. Go away.
Right.
These people are doing something wrong, right? You're asking them to leave, or you're exercising your right to not continue serving them the next month, and they refuse to leave or refuse to comply. You're going to literally give them money.
Yes. Sometimes that's a cost of doing business.
Well, there it is. But the business, and that's the smart play for your business in some scenarios.
Right.
Because the alternative is you don't have the rights to just kind of go over there and handle business the way, a lot of other people might think is fair. You don't have the you're not a bouncer at a bar when somebody's acting up. That kind of a business can just give somebody the heave ho. Just ask Matt. And no, I meant because he looks like a bouncer, not because he gets thrown out of bars. And I'm kidding. And yes, you don't look like a bouncer. And so what they'll do is instead they'll evaluate. And they'll say, listen, it's going to cost me 3 months or 6 months to fight this out in court, deal with an attorney, and have to cover all that expense, the time. I'd rather just give them, half of that. If it's going to cost me $5,000 to, get this person out, I'd rather just give them $2,500, and have them leave hopefully sooner,
Exactly.
or without the challenge. And it's a business decision. I hate making those things. We almost never have to do it. I'd almost rather, and I'll tell you why I hate doing it. I'd almost rather see it through if I could afford to do it. You know why?
Why?
Well, sometimes that tenant has neighbors. It's a multifamily house.
Okay. So you're worried that they're all going to then be holding their hands out for money. I get that, but that's why. So, all right. And
you did it for that guy. I want $5,000.
But this is also why when we're at an auction, let's just say, we always anticipate if there's 2 units, I allocate $5,000 per unit. And we're telling everyone that we're going to auction now that we're doing that. But we allocate a certain amount to assume that we're going to have to pay someone to leave. I'd rather add that to my bottom line. And if Kevin can negotiate them for better, or we can actually do the court process, or they just leave. I mean, that's great. But I'd rather anticipate something like that and then not have to use it than not anticipate it and have to use it. And now that my margins are that much smaller.
Yeah.
So I think it's much more prudent from a business standpoint to anticipate that kind of stuff.
That's absolutely fine. And remember, there's different scenarios where you'll need to negotiate and deal with these different kind of things. In some cases, it's a rental property with rental tenants in it. And no, you don't usually anticipate and put $5,000 aside to evict somebody who's stealing your services. You don't have that money put aside to evict somebody that decides to start selling drugs out of their apartment or blasting music 24/7 and having extra people living there. And it's becoming a problem for your neighbors.
Right, but now you could also be, you're right. You don't put that aside if it's, one that you already own, and
right. But if you're acquiring,
but if you also if you have these tenants there, now they're creating a problem. Let's say maybe they're not paying, so you're losing that income right there,
mm-hmm.
and then they're creating problems around them. Now you could all of a sudden lose other income. So you got a 4-family house. All of a sudden now it goes fully vacant because everyone else leaves. You got a bad apple that soils all, you literally get rid of all, sours all the rest, and now you're losing everyone.
Getting there, close.
Oh, shit.
Spoils. But you're right. Again, you're weighing out each different scenario. And I tell everybody all the time, a bad tenant will cost you so much more money than you might initially think about. A bad tenant, everybody thinks a bad tenant is just somebody that doesn't pay. Well, it could be,
that's part of it.
But usually a bad tenant, often a bad tenant is somebody that maybe doesn't pay, but also is going to drive away good tenants and keep good tenants from moving in.
Exactly.
Costing you in so many other ways.
Or not to mention pissing off your neighbor. All right. And now you're getting them calling code enforcement on you, or the mayor's office. Oh my God. How many times did we hit the one on Rainy? Oh my God. The neighbor,
the drive-by shootings.
The drive-by shootings.
Yeah.
Because of bad tenant.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, literally. I don't think I've told people this one too much. I won't go into it, but oh my God, we had a property where some kid, adult kid, son of the woman I was renting from, gets out of jail, comes back to live at the property, and apparently it was understood that he was maybe he did some snitching on some gang folks in the area. And literally, the house was getting shot up on a weekly basis. This thing had drive-by shootings. And
we had to change the siding multiple times.
Yeah, and it's a 2-family house. So sometimes the bullets would actually go to the second floor where the neighbors lived. And those people suck too. But
still, they shouldn't be shot at.
Shouldn't be getting shot at. I agree. And the police departments, the mayor's office, code enforcement would call us saying the mayor's pissed off. The police want to know what the hell is going on their property.
Yeah.
And what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? You got to get this property under control. What the hell are you doing over there? Could not believe.
Yep. Well, then you need to talk to the judge because we can't do anything right now.
So we can't. A, we're not going to be able to do anything about it. But B, I'm the victim here, and so are these other. We got to get these people the heck out of there. We can't have this. And I said, they're just going to move to any other street and neighborhood in the same city. These people aren't going far. And so you at least know where their issues are right now, and maybe
Right.
you can like do some surveillance and do something for law enforcement, But this is just going to move and hop to a street, 2 streets over if you make me kick these guys out. And frankly, how am I supposed to go to a judge and say these guys need to get out, judge? They're the victim of gun violence. They're the victim of gang criminal behavior. Make them lose their home, please. Like, how do you put a case together like that? It's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Rob's got another question for you.
That's not a question.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Rob. Go. So I mean, I was kind of recap. I mean, I know this was shorter than we've done last time, but I kind of want to just go over what we were talking about. Is the market shifting? We're definitely, at least in our market, we're seeing things soften for resale. So we are definitely seeing less buyers out there that are willing to pay the exorbitant prices that people are putting out there.
Yeah.
Things are not flying off the shelf like they were a month, 2 months ago. And this is definitely going to I see this trend continuing on into the fall and into next year. I think that, without any major stimulus coming to like boost up, which they have talked about, there might be a first-time buyer credit, like $12,000, something like that. That might actually, all of a sudden prop the market up again. So if that happens, I mean, all bets are off. Yeah. But I think right now we're going to start kind of seeing a little slow decline, as well as what we're going to start seeing is an incline in rental market. I think that's going to start catching up with inflation, whereas the housing prices have soared past inflation, and now we're going to start seeing the rental market kind of catch up a little bit. And so we're going to see a rent increase.
Well, hopefully it's a good time to be finally coming up on being a good time to be a landlord. Maybe some getting made up a little bit from the last year and a half. If you're able to survive, maybe now you'll do well. And hopefully you've been getting a lot of tips and information on how to do that by following us on our YouTube channel.
So we actually have Victoria helping here. She's got a question from our TikTok channel over there.
What's up?
So let's see what she's got. So you guys don't do first come, first serve on rental applications?
Well, it's a great question. So just because somebody submits an application, just like a job application, it's not first come, first serve for a job either. Somebody might not be qualified. So somebody might have an application there. They don't meet income requirements. They don't have landlord references, those kind of things, or don't fully complete these things. It's amazing how often, we're just trying to get somebody to fill out one page of information about it.
Or they lie.
Well, the lying happens all the time. It's very similar and like a job application. Of course, we're going to want to make sure we're renting to the strongest candidate possible.
Right, and we're looking for tenants, like Kevin said before, tenants to succeed. We don't want to start a relationship where we feel there's a potential for things to fail, and that's not good for us or the tenant.
No, it's
nobody wants to do with that.
He's absolutely right. The amount of times I've had conversations back in the day with people that they would call in or however we'd be talking to them, and they would want to rent $1,000 apartment and they have a $1,200 a month income. And I'm like, how in the world do you see that happen? Oh, no, don't worry. I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it. I'll do the right thing. I'll pay it. And I'm like, I know how this is going to go because we learned by making these kind of mistakes early on. Right. If I was to say, I just need a place. Okay, great. So here you go. Here's some keys. Great. And 2 months in, they don't have any money.
Nope. I mean, we've had people move in day one. They have all their move in, hopefully, expenses, and then all of a sudden, the next month, that's it. They're not paying, and then it's a process of kicking them out, going through the housing court. Now they're going to have to pay all those court fees. Or you're going to have a judgment on their record. I mean, that's not good for anyone.
Right, and and they'll end up in a bad situation, and you're going to end up with a whole bunch of costs and downtime. Right. You didn't get paid for any of that. You might get a judgment against them, but you're never going to collect on that judgment. So it's going to take you 5 or 6 months to kick these people out, a couple of months of getting the apartment renovated, cleaned up, and advertised and re-rented. Yep. And you'll start that process over again. And God forbid you do the same thing. So you want to help people who are going to make bad decisions. People will make it's really easy to make bad decisions. A lot of people do it. And you want to help prevent them from doing one that's going to harm you as well as them.
I mean, one of the things we learned early on in this is that it's better to take a longer time to fill a tenant vacancy than it is just to shove someone in just because, I need to get money in coming in. Take your time, find a good tenant, and it will be pay off so much more
Yep.
in the long run. And you
Absolutely.
got to think long term. Don't think so short term. I understand, everyone has a myopic view often. Oh my God, I got the mortgage payment. I got this payment. And if you bought right and you have some reserves and all that stuff, you were smart about it, you'll be okay. It'd be better for
Right.
you to take on and take a little bit longer, find a good tenant, find a good match for, that meets all your criteria, and it will be so much more valuable to you.
Yep, you want to set people up for success and your people. So you want to set yourself up as well.
All right, we got another question from TikTok, it sounds like. Thank you, Victoria. How do you begin a search for in your area to invest? All right, so if you're looking to invest in your area, what we talk about all the time, if you watch our YouTube channel and stuff like that, is there's a couple different ways. You can buy turnkey, so you can find stuff that's already renovated and that has occupied and all that kind of stuff, and just buy it and hope that you can make a small return on your money. Generally, right now with these higher prices, you're probably not. You're probably looking to build some appreciation or build some equity as you're paying down principal, but you're probably not cash flowing for a while because of the exorbitant price right now until rents kind of come up and then you can start actually profiting. But better yet, what we prefer is, I would say, finding distressed property in your market. And there's a lot of different ways you can go about that. We talk about foreclosures, condo lien foreclosures, just regular foreclosures. We talk about driving for dollars, because this guy loves to drive for dunks all the time. These are some of the best ways, talking to wholesalers in your market, if that's what you're looking for.
Google and reviewing a little bit of the different states that are a little bit more fair to homeowners. So if you're looking to invest and own property and you're trying to figure out what area to do it in, do it in one that's not super lopsided, like where we have Massachusetts. I always say, if you can survive in Mass, you can thrive somewhere else. So, look for a state that's a little bit more, I don't want to even say favorable. I would just say simply just fair. And you can get treated a little bit more equally.
Yeah. So, I would just, find where you are comfortable investing in, and then basically start looking for distressed property, or finding a partner that can find you distressed property, a wholesaler, stuff like that. Check out the local landlord associations. That would be a great place to start. Go network, go rub elbows with other people that are in the, market that you want to be in. And I think that would be a good start.
I agree. And you can also learn a lot more about this and all the other landlord type subjects, all the stuff about real estate investing, buying, holding, renting, by liking this video and then subscribing to our channel so you don't miss out on all the stuff we have and all the videos that we have coming up. And hopefully we'll see your comments popping up across our YouTube channel.
Awesome, everyone. Well, I hope everyone has a great week. If you guys, I'm going to post a poll on our forums for our YouTube channel, and for some other ideas on what next subject you would like for next week.
I think we have an Instagram too. Matt was telling me. Who knew? How do they get to our Instagram? How do they get to our Instagram so they can follow us on that as well?
Two Guys Take on Real Estate.
Wow, it's like all the same names on everything.
Wow.
This is great.
Yeah,
super easy.
I had to convince someone though. So someone actually took our account. We had to convince the guy to give it back to us because we hadn't registered it.
We had to convince the guy.
Yeah, we started our TikTok, kind of blew up there, and we didn't, kind of think to.
Kind of blew up, kind of a little TikTok famous.
Yeah, what can I say? Not on YouTube yet, though.
We're getting there.
We're getting there.
Help us out, people, with our YouTube channel. Blow us up over there, too.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.